Welcome, everyone, to the La Jolla Cosmetic Podcast. I have Hannah here with me today, and we have something that we just kind of want to sound off about because I don't know if you saw this article a couple weeks ago, but for both Hannah and for me, it just was like nails on a chalkboard, and we just have to talk about it. So, hi, Hannah. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, other than having a little fire under my butt right now about this, but I'm just
Okay.
ready to rant with you.
Yeah, because, okay, what we're talking about, we'll put the link in the show notes, is a long article that The Guardian did a couple weeks ago, so late July. Jamie Lee Curtis and what she said about plastic surgery. And what she said, and I quote, "It's the genocide of a generation of women." Excuse me? We have thoughts about this. And so we were talking offline the other day, and I'm like, wait a minute, we need to talk about this like online with our audience and see what people think. And what, so we want to hear from you guys too, like in the comments, like what you think. So we have some big thoughts. So Hannah, let's set the record straight about what we think about this plastic surgery assault by Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, first of all, genocide is a very offensive word to use, and there are so many other words that we could have used instead of that. And we'll list those at the end. We have a little ramble sesh of other ways she could have worded it. But first off, it was literally, like Monique said, nails on a chalkboard, because I went to school for journalism and I am a grammar nerd. Like, spelling was my best class in elementary school. English was my best class all through high school and college. And I'm like, so it really made me squirm inside and out. And I had to reached out to Monique. I don't think she knew about it until I was like, hey,
I didn't.
Jamie Lee Curtis said this thing that is like awful. But before that, like a few months ago, there was an article about her saying she had eyelid surgery when she was 25 and that she regrets doing that. So I was like, okay, Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't like plastic surgery. Okay, fine. She said she regrets it. That's
And
fine.
she's
Some people,
66 now. So she's
yeah,
66. So when she was 25, yeah, one of
she's
the
still thinking about this. Like, okay. But
obsessed
then,
much. Okay.
yeah, like, such a hater. Anyway, so then I see this and I'm like, oh, 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 oh. Like, she's a total hater. And
Yeah. And you guys have to look. So we're gonna put the link in the show notes. Because the picture that they use for this article, she posed with like big wax lips, like huge wax lips, as her statement against plastic surgery pressures, right?
first of all, filler isn't surgery. So, not to get too
Right,
technical
right.
here, but
True.
it, and that's what the wax lips are signifying, I'm guessing, is a
Yeah,
filler.
because, okay, filler. Okay, but that's okay, right. Yeah, I've been
But
very
plastic surgery
vocal.
can be extremely life-changing. It's
Right.
not always about, like, appearance, and if it is, it's an appearance that literally is bothering someone so much that they can't even look in the mirror.
Well,
So, but we'll
you
get into
know,
that. We'll get
yeah,
into
yeah,
that.
yeah. So the
Okay.
rest of the quote, she said, "I've been very vocal about a genocide of a generation of women by the cosmeceutical industrial complex
Okay,
who've."
ChatGPT. Like,
Well, that's a whole different group of people. Cosmeceuticals is, like some skincare that we're hawking over on Instagram or something. Or
it's snail
uh,
mucin from TikTok.
salmon sperm. And I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. But she's talking about plastic surgery and a generation of women who've disfigured themselves. And then she says the wax lips really sends it all home or sends it home.
Okay, her grammar, other than using the word genocide, she said the wax lips really sends it home. It's send it, because lips is plural.
Yeah,
And
right.
then she said the wax lips is my statement. Okay, the wax lips are my statement.
Mhm.
So much wrong with this. Also, just notice disfigured is in there. That is a total terrible word to use.
Yeah. So for the grammar nerds in the audience, of which I'm also one. I was a composition center tutor in high school, which is the dorky people who during lunch you could help other people with their essays and stuff. They'd bring it and we'd help them, not do it for them. We'd have to like instruct them on how maybe they could say it in a better way, which is hard to do actually. So I've been that way too. And you know, from your copywriting perspective and my like old school class of 1985 just had our 40-year reunion perspective, like, come on. So, yeah, Jamie Lee at 66 years old. But I think it's a shock value type of thing, too. She's like obviously trying to get some headlines about this. Um, but, I think what what is damaging, in my opinion, to say something like this is that yeah, of course, there's the one percenters who take it to the extreme where it's like, oh my gosh. And that's what you might see on TV. That's what you might see on Instagram or TikTok. But that's not the vast majority. And what we see as with our patients every day, and I've almost 34 years of working in this business, that's not who is your normal plastic surgery patient. And so I guess to me, it becomes a little bit damaging. And to your point of like, if that's something that really bothers you, do you want to be bullied into not thinking it matters by Jamie Lee Curtis?
Who's surrounded by fellow celebrities and has been since her early 20s when she th or was she a child star? I don't know.
She was like,
She's a
I think
nepo baby, isn't she?
that's what yeah, Nepo baby, because her
So
mom and
she's been
dad were
surrounded by
both,
celebrities her whole life.
her first
So
movie was 19 years old. Yeah.
and celebrities are the ones that tend to take it too far. I don't know if it's because they have so much money or they think that the camera takes away some surgery. Like, I don't know, but like, they're the ones that
It
take it far,
adds
and that's what
10
she's
pounds and removes 20
yeah.
years, right?
So, sh of course, she's surrounded by people who overdo it, but you can't be putting this against all the women and men out there in the entire world who get this done because of it's just tiny tweaks.
Our patients are just regular people and they just want to feel better about themselves, feel like a better version of themselves, give themselves that extra bit of confidence. Like, if you go get your hair and makeup done or you buy a brand new dress and you go out and you feel like you're just holding your head a little bit higher, you feel really good. And that's that same feeling, but you have it every day because maybe you, you know, took away the eye bags or fixed ears. I didn't even have that in my thought process. Things like if people have their ears sticking out and there's life-changing things that plastic surgeons do. And so, maybe we talk about, you know, some of these misconceptions about, her kind of taking a paintbrush or her big plastic red lips and like painting in a whole industry with this one brush.
Yesterday, Monique and I were in a meeting with another lady who works at LJCSC, Brittany, and she said something so good about this situation because obviously I was telling her and Monique at the same time because I was fired up about it. And she said, hating on women for doing something that makes them feel more confident in their bodies is a form of body shaming, period. And she's so right.
Exactly. And, you know, if your genes have dictated that your profile is, you have a really weak chin or you have a really large nose or you're bottom heavy, you're really small on the top, but you feel like you're out of proportion on the bottom. There's an endless list. And so we were kind of thinking about like, what's superficial in Jamie Lee Curtis's mind versus what isn't? Like, what's actually, I feel like nothing should be superficial. Like, if it bothers you, right? Then, and you want to fix it, you should be able to do that.
Okay, so of course Jamie Lee Curtis is gonna hate on plastic surgery because she's been stick thin her whole life. Like, she's been
Mm.
so thin, but there are people who just naturally store fat in really, like, stubborn places, and it does not go away with exercise or diet, and so they use things like liposuction to remove it. Well, Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously, she's gonna hate on plastic surgery because she's never really had anything that she needed it for,
Mhm.
really. So that is another reason why it's a form of body shaming.
You know, you have celebrities who are sort of it's just our culture that, they're constantly making their opinions known, whether it's about politics or religion or food, and whether you agree that they're worth listening to or not, they are and people they are influencers, right? So when you have that kind of microphone and that amplification, you could really do some damage for
Yeah.
people who think, like, what if you're just so embarrassed about something about yourself and you want to change it? And then you see this, Oscar winning actress who is pretty au naturel in, they airbrush her. They still do because I looked. But, in a
We
lot
have
of
the
her,
receipts
we have
that
the receipts.
she yeah.
But, like, so then what what kind of damage is that doing? Make somebody feel so bad about themselves for wanting to fix something.
Yeah, by announcing your hatred for something that has totally changed other people's lives, like, it's changed my life completely, and I'll talk about that later, but I it's just very small-minded
Mm,
to do because people don't just get it to accentuate themselves. Some people get it to tweak themselves,
mhm.
and when it's done properly, you can't even tell.
Yeah. Well, if do you mind sharing? You wanna tell
Let's
everybody?
get into that list.
Yeah, yeah.
So, we actually have a whole list of reasons people get plastic surgery that aren't superficial, because
Mhm,
most of the time, like, at least 90% of the time, it's not superficial. So for example, I had a rhinoplasty because I absolutely hated to see my reflection, and I could not stand seeing a video of me or a photo of me taken from the side. I literally would I'm not gonna lie, I photoshopped my nose sometimes. I would, like, tweak the bump off of it with
mhm.
an airbrush app, and
'Cause
it
it
was getting
bothered
to a
you.
point. Yeah, it was literally, and some people would be like, "Oh, it gives you personality, like, it gives you character, your nose is
Mm,
cute." I'm like, "No, I don't you might say that, but it's not your nose, it's
yeah.
my nose."
But no, you're
Um,
right. I think the point that you're saying is, like, if it bothers you, who cares? And if you're not doing it for anybody but yourself, then who does anybody else have to who are they to say and be judging? And I feel like it's kind of a I know she doesn't care what people think about her, and she says that everywhere in all her articles I was reading this morning. She did a 60 Minutes interview, and I know it's for shock value a little bit, just to bring
oh, for
attention
sure.
to the topic, right? But, there's a lot of lists. Like, say you're talking about rhinoplasty. Septoplasty, which is for breathing issues. It's not necessarily a cosmetic procedure, but a lot of
Yeah,
times you might want to change the outside of your nose, but also the internal structure. And plastic surgeons, that's what they're trained to do. So that isn't a vanity thing. That's because I want to breathe 100% of the air that I'm trying to breathe. Um, or
and then rhinoplasty for broken noses.
right,
Like, some
true.
people literally break their nose and they need to get
Yeah.
rhinoplasty.
But Jamie
And
Lee
none
said
of these are
no.
societal pressures.
Hmm.
Mine wasn't a societal pressure, it was an inner pressure that I had with myself. It's nobody's business, nobody else affected me but myself.
Hmm.
And that's the case most of the time. People are just bothered by it internally.
Right. Well, so what other things like are there that people kind of that fall in this same list of, procedures that are not because society is telling them to do it?
Liposuction for lipedema?
It's a condition that is hereditary. And when it's in your family on your mom's side, you're going to get it. So guess who has it? I have it. And we just, I
I
think,
didn't know
talked
that.
about Dr. Salazar with him about it recently, and he just opened up an Instagram so we could talk more about it.
We'll link that in the
Just
show
about
notes.
lipedema. So lipedema is a condition, and it's really like heavy legs or arms, but it's the fat is more fibrous. It's more maybe cottage cheesy looking, and things are, like heavier knees, and there's different stages of it. And, there's a whole thing, but that's a medical condition. And so for women, and it's, I think, 100% women. For women who have this condition, like, think about trying to buy a pair of pants. If you're from the knees up to your waist is so big that you can't find pants that fit. And then they're typically very small on their upper body. Sometimes it happens in their arms, but a lot of times it's like their legs, and it's this heavy leg syndrome or something. And so, like, oh, are we going to say that that's not okay, Jamie Lee Curtis?
Like, they're technically getting this plastic surgery that she's hating on. That's liposuction is technically plastic surgery. Like,
Mhm.
right? Is it not a form of plastic surgery? But they're getting
Absolutely.
it for something that is totally left field of what she
And
was
not
talking
in their
about.
control. There's
Not at
not
all.
any kind of diet and exercise to make it go away. You can manage it with food and certain kinds of, there's like different lymphatic or massage specialists who, work, and one of them's right here in San Diego. She, it's not even a medical diagnosis code yet, because the whole medical community just doesn't even notice these people. But yet 10% of women have this condition in some varying degree of um, severity. So, that's one. And I was thinking also, like, what about, you know, breast reconstruction after mastectomy? You've had a full mastectomy on one or both breasts, and you want to have some fullness back. Is that okay or not? Is it not okay? I feel like it's pretty okay, honestly. But, I don't know. In Jamie's world, is that okay?
And also snapping back after pregnancy
Mm,
or at like extreme weight loss. People are
yeah,
getting procedures to tighten up after both of those things.
good
That's
point.
that's plastic surgery that they're getting
I'm gonna
after.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say the L word. Are we ready for the L word?
Not to make everybody
Labiaplasty. I
uncomfortable.
don't Yeah, sorry. Not to make you
Sorry.
uncomfortable. Labiaplasty, okay? Like, it's a real thing, and it's not just because, you know, we have this societal pressure to have, like, the most perfect, um
Hoo-ha.
like,
Like, we
what are we gonna call it?
just wanna
Um,
be
the
comfortable. Like,
lady
women
bits,
are
the lady
literally
bits.
yes,
Mhm.
that's what we called
The
it in
lady
one of our
bits.
episodes.
And, if you and this also could be something from after pregnancy, having kids, or it could aging, losing hormones down there, the tissues get really lax. Or what about if you're just born that way, and all of a sudden you're trying to wear spandex and go to yoga class or go on a bike, and there's too much tissue and it's in the way, or things are really uncomfortable. Like, again, that's not a vanity thing. Maybe you feel more comfortable in an intimate situation because you don't feel like there's too much skin happening, so there's some vanity there, but there's also some comfort and lifestyle things. And I don't judge anybody who wants to make that decision.
Not at all. Like, labiaplasty would be totally life-changing. Like, imagine being wearing, like, Lululemon leggings and
Yeah.
then going to Pilates and you're not comfortable with the way your labia looks. Well, some of these Pilates moves, you're literally opening your legs right up for everybody around you. Like, it's in
Yeah.
your instructor's face pretty much. And
I think
if
you'd
it's
have to.
shaped weird and you're worried about that,
Well, yeah.
like and then if it's you're not gonna even feel comfortable enough to wear leggings in
Uh-uh.
most cases.
You'd have to go to
So,
pickleball, straight to pickleball in a pickleball skirt.
wear a little skirt, tennis skirt,
No, but
yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny, but honestly,
No, really.
these are real issues. And I think, again, going back to her big red waxy lips, kind of painting an industry in a certain way, like, I'm this smart woman, I'm super successful, and this isn't okay. You're being controlled by the cosmeceutical industrial complex. No, not really. I think some people, of course, there's some people who, you know, go through Instagram, I want to look like that. Okay, that's normal. That's honestly normal. We all want to look like our best selves, right? We all
It's
want
no
to.
different from in the past, like, back in before pre-Hannah, when people would look through magazines and be like, "Oh, I wanna look like her. I wanna look like this model." Like,
Mhm.
it's no different.
Yeah, well, we
Like,
used to
people
have.
it's this isn't new. People just wanna be their best.
Right, right, and be confident, and, I mean, tell me what you think pre pre pre-Hannah, post-Hannah. No, really, like, how much mental space is freed up by you not having to think about it anymore because it's fixed?
Like, my nose? Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like I've been better at my job, for one. I've been better at working out. I do my makeup way faster because I don't have to worry about contouring it a certain way. Like, it's literally saved me so much time and energy, and honestly, no one has noticed. People only notice when I point it out,
Yeah, well,
and
but
that's
you're
what
for
it is most of the
you
time.
right, and that's
But
r
for me, it changed my life. Like, I can
Mhm.
finally take pictures like this and be like, "Yep, I look good in that," and
Yeah,
post
and
it.
feel good. Well, okay, and I was thinking about this one, male breast reduction
Mm,
surgery.
good
So,
one.
up to, like, at some point in their life, up to 60% of men can have too much breast tissue, either too much fat, too much skin, too much of both, whether it's a lifestyle thing, because maybe, they have some recreational drugs that trigger hormone production that then trigger bigger man boobs, or if they take some steroids, or they're just born that way and they're embarrassed they don't even take off their shirt when they go to the beach or in front of a partner in an intimate situation. Like, that's not you're not doing it. Maybe part of that's for vanity, but, like, who cares? Like, fix it and be on your way to freeing up your brain power to do other things and think about other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, and then there's, facelifts, neck lifts, all of those procedures that are meant to make your outside match how you feel on the inside. So if you
Mhm.
feel super young and energetic, why would you want your outside to look any less young and energetic?
Okay, one last thing about different facial surgery. So, like, what about eyelid lifts? If your upper eyelid skin is so hooded, like it's so loose, there actually are sometimes where it blocks your field of vision. And in those cases, which is pretty rare, but in those cases, a lot of times, a insurance company would even cover taking out the
Yeah.
extra skin of your upper eyelid because it blocks your field of vision and you need that to drive and stuff like that. So, you know, not everything is vanity, and being pushed on us by whatever complex we're talking about. But let's talk since you and I are the grammar nerds, or okay, let's just what are the things that she could have said instead of genocide, which is totally hyperbolic, offensive, insensitive. Like, come on. Let's not throw around those kind of words. I, I was offended. Were you offended?
Yeah, like, I may not have been personally affected by a genocide in my lifetime, but I know that that's an extremely offensive word to people who have been.
Hmm.
And, oh, it's just so insensitive.
Yeah.
Oh, like,
I mean,
she's definitely trying to get that PR
mhm.
because of Freakier Friday, and
Right.
which is crazy because she filmed it with Lindsay Lohan, who looks amazing because guess what?
She looks like
She
she's
had
12 again.
she had surgery. She
Hmm.
did. She might deny it, but she had something done. She
Totally.
had more
And
than
she looks
lasers even.
amazing. And she
Yeah,
looks
she looks good.
amazing. She looks
So,
great.
Jamie Lee Curtis is just trying to get attention. But here's what
Mm,
she coulda said.
mm.
I have a list.
Oh,
And then
good.
Monique, do you have a list too?
I have a few. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so she coulda said damage to women's self-image,
Mm,
the destruction of a generation of women's natural features, which I don't like any of these either, but it's better than saying genocide, right?
right.
The obliteration of natural beauty. Obliteration, like, come on, that's a word. The
Mm.
eradication of natural beau like, why do we whip out genocide? Like, that's so disturbing,
No,
like,
it is.
oh.
or like a corruption of
Oh,
a generation's self-image, because maybe in her opinion, it has been corrupted by, and she talked about all these filters and yeah. Yeah, but guess what? Even 60 Minutes is filtering you as you're talking because you'd see like all of a sudden her cheek would get kind of blurry and then she'd move and her neck would get kind of blurry. So they're
glitches.
sitting there, they're sitting there like on the, as their post production, they're like making her look better, which I think is hilarious. And they touched her up for The Guardian too. So then it's like, okay, well, are we being our real self? You know, are we gonna tell like if you really believe in this to like be your authentic self? Then tell the magazines you're not gonna allow them to touch you up. No, no touching up allowed. She could pull that off. They'll say yes, but no,
Yeah.
well, she's all touched up. Or like, how about an industrial assault on a generation of women's faces or harm to a
Har
generation? I mean,
harm.
like
She could simply say
harm,
harm.
harm, harm, not genocide. All right. So, lastly, she discussed the phenomenon of wiping out, these generations of beauty through plastic surgery, noting that the pressure to conform to unrealistic standards is particularly harmful to young people. I agree. There is a whole lot of money being made over in Sephora and Ulta and aimed at young preteens, and is that the
Yeah.
right thing? And I agree. But you know what? I'm sorry. Even way back in the day, they were, you'd look through your glossy magazine instead of looking on Instagram, but it's the same,
Yeah.
like you said, it's the same thing. Um, but it said she believes that social media, with its emphasis on filtering and editing, is contributing to the problem, likening it, get ready, get ready for this, to giving a chainsaw to a toddler due to the potential for long-term physical and mental harm. And then she says, right after, it says, Curtis also emphasizes that she does not judge individuals who choose to undergo plastic surgery, but rather speaks out against the societal pressures that drive these choices. Um, I think you do judge the individuals, or you wouldn't be talking about it. But that's just me. That's my opinion
Yeah.
based on what I've seen you say. And I get it.
It's like
She's 25 years old. She's being told by a director, I'm not shooting her today because her eyes look baggy. So after the movie wrapped, she goes and gets her lower eyes done. But that was her choice, that was her choice. And that's the industry she's in. And you know what? Right or wrong, she could have not done that. She felt she needed to. Her parents were actors, and she saw her parents sort of start to get ignored by Hollywood because they were getting older. But, back then there was also a lot of older actors and actresses that did just fine. So I don't know, like she's seeing it through her filter and her lens, I guess,
yeah.
right? Which is how we all do. So yeah, I think your point about the Freakier Friday, didn't that just open like a few days ago?
Yeah, like, last weekend
So
was
maybe
the
this is a little bit of a PR
premiere.
stunt.
Yeah. It's a PR stunt for sure, but we're falling into the trap because we just
I
wanted to rant.
we
We were
just
personally offended.
and yeah, we had to talk about it with you guys listening. I hope I want to hear what you think, really, though. Like, what do we
I
think about what
know.
was said? What do we think about some of the things she brought up? We'll put some links in the show notes because there was several different articles. There was a new beauty article. There's the 60 minutes, like 13-minute piece. And I think it's interesting. And, she definitely is coming at it from her own perspective, but at the same time to sort of then be judging a whole generation
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
multiple generations of women and men who might choose to do this for their own reasons. That's, I think, where it's hard for me to get behind.
Yeah. Yeah, she should have just said, like, the celebrities and then
Mm,
left it at that because putting it down, like, to people like us, like, everyday people, I don't know. She
yeah.
grouped everyone, the whole
Yeah.
generation. That's just disturbing.
Or many
That's not
generations.
true.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So, long story short, we don't like her choice of words. I'm totally fine with her not getting anything done. She looks great. She looks amazing.
Yeah,
But like
fine.
she looked amazing at 19. She looked amazing at looks now amazing at 20 or 66 without having surgery. That's awesome. I love it,
Good for
But
her, but not everyone can.
not everybody can, bring those genes
Yeah.
forward. Yeah, she looks amazing. She does. And no, it's not against her. It's really her choice of words. And I think, your words matter and you have a really, really big megaphone. So what she's doing could also be causing harm to a group of people, just as much harm as what she sees the cosmeceutical industrial complex. I'm sorry. I'm going to use
Her
that.
grouping Sephora and Ulta into plastic surgery, which is a medical
Uh-huh.
industry, is just very bad taste. Bad taste. No.
But shock value, she got us, right? So
Yeah, she
because
got us there.
well, Hannah, thank you for doing this with me because this was really fun. And you're right. I didn't know about it until it was brought up yesterday.
I'll
And
keep bringing stuff like this up to you and we
please
can react
do.
together.
Yeah,
And you do the
because
same to me.
I will. I will, because I'm sure our feeds are different. There's only
Yeah.
30 years difference between us. So, that's like definitely what we're seeing coming through the feed is different. So I like that because I'd like to talk about some topics that I have thoughts about, and I know you
Yeah.
have thoughts
And
too. So
our perspectives might be
yeah.
the same, might be a little different, and it would be fun. So stay tuned for more reactions from Monique and me.
All right. So if you're listening today, check the show notes. Give us your opinions. I want to hear from you all about what your opinions are about this, because I'm genuinely interested. And since we had to talk about it, I want to hear from y'all. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Take a screenshot of this podcast episode with your phone and show it at your consultation or appointment, or mention the promo code PODCAST to receive $25 off any service or product of $50 or more at La Jolla Cosmetic. La Jolla Cosmetic is located just off the I-5 San Diego Freeway in the Zymed building on the Scripps Memorial Hospital campus. To learn more, go to ljcsc.com or follow the team on Instagram at ljcsc. The La Jolla Cosmetic Podcast is a production of The Axis, TheAxis.io.